Welcome to the Week 3 RGV Sports Football Chat. I am Brian Sandalo, and I am joined by the usual menagerie of casting characters. First, we've got District 35A reporter Todd Orodanker, who I'm sure just has brought his A game tonight. We've got the busiest man in the building, District 32 4A reporter Dennis Silva, and you'll be hearing his voice a lot during this little broadcast. And then we've got reporter emeritus, chief sports dude at the Monitor, Peter Rasmussen. And funny thing is, Todd and Peter are on their phones right now, so I don't know how engaged they're going to be. So we'll just start with Dennis. And big news in Valley football has been the seemingly annual controversy in 32-4A with this year's EdcouchElsa. So just fill us in. What's the story and what's the absolute latest on what's going on?
Well, the story was allegations brought up by a parent with a son on the team last Tuesday, alleging that they surpassed the UIL allotment for practice hours in a week, which is 8. This week we found out that through multiple sources that allotment they actually more than doubled that allotment, more than 16 hours practicing during week 0 of this season. And today, the latest development, the most recent one, is the fact that EdCouch coach Joe Solis pretty much said he has an attorney, can't talk to the media, has been told not to talk to anyone, but did say that they did have something for the DEC when they convene for a final time on this issue next Tuesday.
Isn't this pretty hard to prove either way? I mean, isn't this like a he said kind of thing going
Essentially, although my understanding is sources did say that the parent has a recording. It's not known if it's audio or visual, but there is a recording that substantially apparently backs up his claims. As far as Solis, I just thought it was interesting the fact that he did say they do have something for the DEC.
That's some sort of response.
And for the parent, is there any ulterior motive to this parent's anything we can say based on source speak, or anything we can get to that? Because
source speak, not at the moment, other than the fact that he does have a son on his team. So you're very you tend to be more wishy-washy with those things. You never know really what's going on until we know more about that situation, but nothing that I can further explain or further tell right now.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just the annual 32-4A thing. Now, what could EdCouch be looking at in terms of punishment? Because I was, of course, I reported the Hidalgo stuff last year, and they kind of slapped him on the wrist a couple times.
Yeah.
What are we looking at here for EdCouch this year?
One source who was actually who was involved basically said that it could be anything from forfeiture of games to suspension of the coach to maybe even no postseason. And
that's not going to happen.
Yeah,
Solis might get suspended, but they're not going to just say, you know what, we're going to punish the kids. That's not going to happen.
Right. And referring back to what you said about what Hidalgo went through, when they were found practicing in pads one day early, and they got slapped with, I think, a suspension of the coach.
Yeah, precedent is,
for that matter,
is big. I mean, it's not going to.
Yeah.
I think if EdCouch makes the playoffs, they'll be allowed to play in it. I don't see that happening.
Yeah, so I'm thinking maybe suspension of the coach, maybe they knock off the win. They beat Wesco 5-0.
5-0, yeah.
In that week 0 win, so maybe that. But it'll be interesting to see because, like you said, there's precedent for this, yeah.
So now we have to go from talk of the playoffs to the exact opposite, Brownsville. And we go, you know what? They've got 6 teams there. One of them's going to make it. I tell it like it is. And now, Todd,
I'm the Brownsville guy now.
You are the Brownsville guy. You are the Brownsville beat writer for
17 years.
For the Monitor, anyways. You know.
Time out. He says it like it is.
Yeah. Yeah. What? Fine. My grammar is not strong tonight.
Well, that's not even the point. The point is that you're pointing out something that's been a fact for like the last few years. That yes, one Brownsville team gets into the playoffs.
Well, I'm just trying to be Mr.
We're off on a tangent here.
We are off on a tangent here, and we only have so much time. So there was another development. I see everybody's faces are all red and blushy, so we'll just go back to serious news now. The latest Brownsville development about a lawsuit.
Oh, well, obviously this is not my story. I'm no longer reporting on Brownsville.
You have the scars, though, still.
I do have the scars, the battle scars from doing with Brownsville, but this was done by Gary Long of the Brownsville Herald. Their education reporter does a terrific job, and he got the lawsuit from that former Hannah coach and current Edinburgh Valley coach Tom Campos had put against BISD for, I guess, wrongful termination, and just letting him go without all the rights from Texas that the state requires, and This happens pretty much all the time at a lot of ISDs where coaches are kicked out or, there's a boot to get them fired and stuff like that. At Brownsville, there was a little bit more of a less football related and no parents and everybody complaining about it. It was more about him not kind of following what his principal told him, and what his principal was telling him to do was wrong, and it's a really unfortunate story, and that's kind of the way it goes.
Are we at the point where we should probably wipe out the entire management of the Brownsville ISD and just start over? Is that
that would be terrific, but I just don't see that happening.
No, that's kind of a bit of a fantasy, right?
It is a bit of a fantasy, but probably nothing's going to come of this except he's going to hopefully get some money out of this and steal some money from the ISD.
Isn't that why we do everything for money?
Yeah, basically. Yeah. But he should be able to get a nice settlement and settle out of court for this. And they kind of moved heaven and water getting it drawn over there, so they're not going to move him back.
Heaven and water, boy, that's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot.
Yeah, I mean,
one place that
he might as well be a great coach then, right?
Sure.
Okay. Now let's actually talk football. Hey, let's do that. Of course, one of the bigger surprise teams earlier this year was Economides, but suffered a tough loss to Edinburgh North, and then during that game they suffered another loss.
They did.
Todd, what's going on there?
Well, talked today to Gabe Pena, and their quarterback Luis Alvarez is going to be out for the season. Tore up his ACL, is going to need surgery, and that is a very tough blow for Edinburgh Economides. And anytime you lose a quarterback, it's especially tough. But for this team, it's going to. I mean, their best playmaker, Hugo Reyes-Paz, it's going to be tough for him to get the ball in his hands now at this point.
He might play some quarterback too.
He might play some quarterback. He's one of the guys who's in contention here to replace Luis and him and the tight end Dorotero Areola, and he played freshman quarterback. They have their JV quarterback who's going to be in contention. So we're going to see where Economides goes from this, but they should be okay.
Really?
They have a good defense. They can run the football. Paz is an athlete. They should still be able to beat Vela and Edinburgh High and La Jolla schools.
This is still Economides we're talking about.
This is still Economides we're talking about, but they legitimately can run the football, and Paz is really up there in terms of athletic ability in the district and in the valley.
Even if they have no one to throw on the ball.
Even if they have no one to throw on the ball, they'll still find a way. They're still one of the 4 or 5 best teams in this district. They are still going to be a contention for a playoff spot. What this does is it probably takes their chances away from moving up into 3rd place in the district and especially winning a playoff game. It's going to be real tough for them to now beat a team from 29, but they can still get there, which would be a heck of a step for Economides.
Yeah, it would be. What, Peter? You just gestured like you're about to say something, and
I just didn't like this topic.
Why?
Can we move to another topic?
Fine. Okay, you are.
Jesus, this is crazy.
You are the boss. I mean, okay, fine.
I just didn't think that was it. I mean, it's just, I don't know.
All right, fine. They're a top 10 team and they lose their quarterback. I thought that might be newsworthy. But okay, boss.
Peter, what do you think is the biggest?
What do you
think?
I was just tweeting right now that I don't know why I was invited because I have not been asked any questions.
So. Well, because you were about to get the next question.
Okay, that's the host's responsibility.
Okay, you were going to get the next question,
okay,
Peter.
Next question?
You don't cover any teams, but you follow the Valley football scene. Who's your top surprise team that can actually keep it up and actually make the playoffs this season? All right.
My surprise team?
Who's your surprise team?
It actually probably be Edinburgh North. I'm surprised that they're actually doing this well.
Okay.
And they are in the top 5, and it'll be very interesting when they play. When do they play Donna? Next week?
Donna's next week.
Next week. I think that'll be their first real test, and it's good that it's at Cats. So maybe they have a good chance to
Thursday night
on a Thursday night, and even on Thursday night, they're probably more used to playing Thursday night than Donna.
They do. Edinburgh North has all the Thursday night games.
So if they upset Donna, I mean, they could be really for real, and they haven't really. They've struggled the last couple of years since they beat Shareland in that playoff game in I think 2009. So they're probably my surprise team.
Roy Garr is a pretty good coach too.
Yeah, I mean he's done a pretty good. I mean you got to remember North wasn't they're a pretty new school, and he's done actually a pretty good job at making them pretty competitive over his tenure there.
They have their lulls, but when they're strong, they're strong.
Yeah.
I guess can I ask myself that question, boss? Can I say who
you could ask.
Yeah, Sandalo, who do you think is the surprise team out of the Valley this year?
Good question. I didn't really prepare that. I'm going to go with the Roma Gladiators. I'm going to go with Roma. They came this close to making it in District 32 4A. last season within within I guess an overtime period, and now they're off to a 3-0 start. Kind of a different looking team than in years past. They can actually they're more of a running team this year. I'm not sure.
I'm just saying that I'm biting my tongue right now. You're really going to pick Roma as your surprise team.
Why can't they make the playoffs? And wouldn't that be a surprise?
I'm not saying that they can't make the playoffs.
Okay, who's your okay? Other than that, Ace, who's your surprise team?
You already asked them.
Oh, you already asked.
I'm asking you for another one. Give me a second.
I don't have another one. You asked me for one. I gave you one. But I'm just saying.
All right.
I'm just saying that Roma has been on to hot starts before and they haven't made the playoffs. So I don't understand why they're this.
I think that 32-4.
What's different about this year?
First of all, they are more of a running-oriented team than in years past, and that translates better. I think their defense is better. All right, and I think that after what happened last year, they've got enough kids coming back where they kind of know what they have to do to win.
But would that be even a surprise if you knew all this stuff that coming?
It's still a surprise when you've got RGC was supposed to be a playoff.
How did they start last year? What was their record to begin last year?
I don't remember.
Wasn't it pretty good?
They started off to a decent start, but not a great start.
I think it was 2-1.
2-1, yeah.
And what did they 3-0 this year? So
they're 3-0.
So that's the big difference is that they.
I think they're a different kind of team. That's why.
Well, okay,
I think that might translate better.
That's a good point. They're a better team.
Their running game. I'm not saying I don't know if they're better, but I think their running game is better. I think that district is probably.
So how do they compete in 32-4? You got Mission, you got Mission Vets, you got EdCouch, you got Mercedes. How do they compete there?
I think that fourth spot is there.
Dennis, as the beat writer, do you agree? How do you see this?
Yeah, I think the fourth spot's pretty open. I'm going to say between Roma and let's see, EdCouch right now. Mission Vets, Mission, Mercedes. I think they're in. EdCouch you would assume is in, but they've done nothing to impress so far. So EdCouch, Roma, I think they could be right there battling for that fourth spot.
So we're writing off the battling, scrappy Valley View Tigers right now?
Well, speaking of surprise teams, that's got to be one. Yeah, your favorite team over there.
They love you.
Right now, I just Roma. It's just a different feel because I think you're right that they're both 3-0, but it's just a different
feel to them
because Roma can pass the ball. Their quarterback is really underrated in Roma.
Eric Ramirez.
Yeah, he can make some things happen. They're not just a run-oriented team, whereas Valley View, that's all they can do. I like the way they can add some balance there, and I know Peter's real. He loves Valley View too, so he's going to agree with me on this one.
Yeah, all right, let's move on. Wait a minute.
Valley View.
I'm just messing, man.
No, I know, but I was like, I thought we were talking about Roma, but
we're talking about 32-4, but now we're going to talk about games to watch. Looking ahead a little bit. Todd, what's the game you're looking at this week?
I'm going to go a little bit different here. Most of my colleagues here could probably pick 5A games and start, pandering to the masses. Let's go with Brownsville St. Joseph hosting Port Isabel.
Why?
It's a good game. It's a good Lower Valley area game. Port Isabel's not in Brownsville, but it's close.
And PI's in a bit of trouble right now.
PI is in a bit of trouble. They need a win. St. Joe's, this is one of their last good tune-ups, probably their last good tune-up before they start, and probably the toughest district that any Valley team is playing in TAPS, playing against these Austin and San Antonio teams that are insanely good, that recruit. And
all right, everybody is just rolling their eyes at you right now.
It's true. They can legitimately only come in about fourth or fifth place.
Are you being serious? This is a game you want to watch this week? You being serious? You can say that with a straight face.
I'm trying to give some pub to our friends down in the Lower Valley and down in the 3A ranks here.
But
it's a good game. It's a good game.
I know you're saying pandering to the 5As, but there's a game between South and.
No, it's not the best game on the schedule, Peter. I think we know that much. I established that pre-point.
But why would you tell someone to want? Okay, you're right.
All right, before our staff busts apart at the seams here, let's just ask.
We just
Peter,
have an antagonistic editor. That's what we do.
Yeah. Peter, what is the game you're?
What's the game you're looking for?
I'm not being antagonistic at all. What I'm saying is some of the things you guys are bringing up just seem odd to me. But that's just
we're odd people.
We
are very odd people.
But I think eccentric.
I think the PHA Memorial San Benito game
that is going to be a very good game.
Very interesting because I think San Benito is coming off a loss and their offense hasn't played. They haven't scored a whole lot, but they are 2-1, and it'll be a good test for both of them. I think. Especially for San Benito after that loss last week too.
I think it's possible they could get run off the field though.
Yeah, no, and you're right. This will be really a test to see how how good they are, and it's also a test to show how good Memorial is.
Yeah, true. Dennis, I think I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, probably EdcouchElsa hosting Laredo Alexander. Only because, I mean, they got things on the field they got to shore up, such as that offense, first of all, but also because we're going to learn a lot about the character of these kids, how they respond with adversity, and how they're doing with all this distraction. And I think that's going to be a telling point. A lot of people are picking out Laredo Alexander, but I think this could be the game where it kind of gets EdcouchElsa rolling again.
Yeah, and I think that'll be an interesting game to watch. Now, my game to watch, this isn't probably the nicest one to say, but Pace Hannah, I got to be honest, I'm kind of interested to see just what's going to happen with this Pace story. And I know it's not going to be the best game, not the most intriguing, but I'm certainly, I don't know, I find it interesting to see what's going to happen. Can Pace stay competitive? Can they score? I don't think they're going to win, but can they?
If the Chicago Bears are playing at the same time as Brownsville Pace, which game would you rather watch?
Well, how's Jay Cutler doing?
He's yelling at his offensive lineman like Nordball.
Oh, up split screen.
Split screen. You're that interested in Brownsville Pace?
I find it interesting. I mean, I'm not from here. I don't have a district to cover, so I pick the games that I find interesting. I find that the Pace story interesting.
Do you have money on this game?
I do not. I don't have enough money to bet.
Take a trip to Sam's.
Yeah, I'm going to be working on The Office Friday night. I'm not going to be able to go to Sam's. But I think on that note, it's time for us to wrap it up. I'm Brian Sandlow. This is Tyler Ordanker, Peter Rasmussen, and Dennis Silva. Thanks for listening. Be sure to follow along RGV Week 3. Follow us on Twitter at RGV Sports. Like us on Facebook. And hopefully you'll give us 16 or 20 minutes of your time next week. Thanks.